Welcome to the Farmer Wants a Wife Afterparty. I'm your host, Stephanie Spiker, and we have a very special surprise episode for you today because we got Chelsi, the one and only Chelsi from Matt's Farm on Farmer Wants a Wife Season 3. She is joining us and partying with us and giving us all the fun scoop and details of what happened in Season 3. Luckily for us, Chelsi has been listening to the Farmer Wants Wife Afterparty, and she follows us on social media at Lancaster Farming. So she was very excited to come on and talk to us, and I figured it's not really that fun for just me to talk to her when, our show has like 4 key members. So I thought I would invite the one who so desperately wanted to hang out with Chelsi and the other ladies on Matt's Farm. I have Lindsay Yoder with me.
Hello.
So let's get right to it and let's talk to Chelsi about all things Season 3 of Farmer Wants a Wife. Chelsi, thank you so much for joining us on the after party.
Thank you guys for having me. This has been my most exciting podcast I've gotten to do this week, so I'm very excited.
We are
flattered,
honored.
very honored.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, we're going to get it out of the way because we know we have to, and I know you know it's coming. So we're going to do it first, and then we'll go into everything else. So how are you and Matt? Still together? Friends? Anything?
Yeah, me and Matt are doing very well. We're taking it day by day at this point. I don't know, that's just what feels natural to us. And, he's been on a media trip the last 3 months, and so we haven't gotten to see each other. But when he does have time, he comes to Dallas, or I'm in California. The finale aired, 2 weeks ago today? And so the last 2 weeks, we haven't seen each other. And I think all the fans are wondering and questioning what's going on. But we're still in touch daily. He actually just called me. And so we're always in cahoots, but we might just not be as showy as others.
Hey, I feel like that was kind of the whole thing for you guys, for us watching the show, is you guys were on the same page about maybe you don't like, you take things slow and you like to take your time. So whatever works for you.
Right.
So let's just get into a little bit. How did you end up on the show? Did you apply? Did someone reach out to you? Like, what was kind of the process of signing up for Season 3?
Yes, so someone reached out to me on Instagram about a game show, actually. And I was very intrigued by that. I went through the whole casting process. I was excited to win a cash prize. And then I think the show ended up not getting funded. And then they asked if I was single. I said yes. I've always loved the agricultural world. It's always been the guys that I've been into. And so I just decided to take a leap of faith, and it worked out for me.
Was there anything that you were expecting that turned out to be totally different than you thought it would be going into it?
I think just the whole back end of reality TV. I had no idea. I think a lot of people don't understand just kind of the intensity of it, the isolation. You're very much in a bubble. I don't feel like I'm a very emotional person, but in that situation, it's very intense and it's very emotional, and everyone's kind of on edge by the end of it, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like it's something, at least I have for work here, been covering since Season 1. And I feel like I have really, now I look at it, every episode, in a bit of a different lens, because I've gotten to talk to people who have been on the show in the past, where it's like, is that really what they meant? Or was that edited a weird way? So do you feel like, for the most part, your story was fairly accurate the way it was portrayed?
I do. I'll say a ton of it is editing. We're filming, 12 hours a day, and with each episode, there's only 4 minutes that get shown. And so it's like, what 4 minutes are they taking, or what are they twisting? And I noticed a couple of episodes where I would say something and it's like, I know for sure I did not say that. Then they had just kind of copied and pasted that information.
Yeah.
But that's reality TV. That's how it works. That's what I signed up for. So I understood. I will say I do love your hot take of, there needs to be either less farmers or more screen time, because you kind of lose that storyline, and it feels a little bit piece together.
Yeah.
Which I even saw. I was there and lived it, and I did see that, it gets choppy. And so I think, and I even told the producers that. I was on the phone with one of the execs the other day, and I said, that's my biggest advice and takeaway for after this season is we need to go either down on the amount of farmers or more showtime, because I was kind of seeing that across the board with the viewers, that the people didn't feel like they really got a connection this season.
Yeah, it was definitely tough because I remember, and I know I've said this in our podcast before, that from, the first maybe 2 episodes, like the speed dates and then that very first episode when you guys were on the farms, I remember thinking like, oh, Chelsi seems like her and Matt would be really great together. I really like her. And then for how many episodes, I'm like, I feel like we haven't seen Chelsi at all. Like, what's happening there? I feel like they would have a connection. And then it took really until, I guess, the camping episode until we finally actually saw you really interact with him again. And I'm like, there had to have been interactions between, like, picking avocados and going camping.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why it was kind of frustrating to me at that point, because I felt like my energy was higher at the beginning, and then by the end, I'm completely drained. And then you're seeing, like, these deeper conversations with me and Matt, but you're not seeing that, like, beginning stages of our relationship form. And I think I can speak for Claire as well. In that situation, we didn't see Claire at the beginning as much. And that just kind of goes back to there's too many people.
Yeah. So just partially for us and then a lot for the listeners, what, you said you shot like 12-hour days, but how long was the actual shooting period?
I got there, I think, around September 26th, and then my last day would have been, I believe, November 1st or around that mark.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, it's really just over a month then. Like, it's a quick, and that's the other thing. And if only, Travis is in the office today, but he very much was like, I don't know if anyone wants to talk to me. And I'm like, all right. That's the thing we said to Travis over and over, where he's like, wait, they're not actually getting a wife? I'm like, they've known each other a month.
Right.
So short. But yeah, so that's good to know, the official time frame. So the other, from a viewer perspective, I think you would agree with this, Lindsay. It seemed like Matt's farm, for the most part, didn't have a ton of drama going on, at least what we got to see. So I do have to ask about the one piece of drama that was the main focus.
Halleh.
Yes.
What was up? Was that actually something that you guys, as the other ladies in the house, were really genuinely concerned and upset about? Or was that a little overblown in terms of like, we need to do something on Matt's farm?
No, it was very real at the moment, for sure. I remember waking up at 5 o'clock very vividly by Alex. And so it was a very early morning. The emotions were high. There were some tears shed. I think there was just a lot of miscommunication there. And I think it also didn't help that happened within the first week of us being on the farm. And so we didn't know each other that well. We didn't know Matt that well. Matt's more reserved. And so the words that were coming out of his mouth weren't making us feel very reassured. And I think, like I said, just being in that bubble, the emotions are so high. And so, Halleh needed an outlet, and we just didn't know the full situation. And I think over time, in realizing who Matt is and his personality, I don't think at the end of the day that it happened. But at the time, when there's 5 girls against 1 boy, I remember about 7:30 that morning, he came walking up, not knowing what happened.
And you guys have been up since 5, like stressed about it.
And we've been up since 5. I was like in a towel outside. I just gotten out of the shower, and he walked in to the hot seat. I will say that.
Oh gosh. See, that's what I feel like we should have seen, was that like interaction, but
Yes. Yeah, that would have really been something. I think Rachel said something along the lines of like, I'm not listening to this BS, and like walked off. It was crazy.
Oh. See, okay. It makes more sense. I don't think, from a viewer perspective of when we watched it, I don't think I would have realized that it was so early on
right
in the whole cycle of filming.
Yeah, it felt like it was
Yes.
later on, and maybe that's just because of the way that things are structured and condensed. Yeah, it makes sense that would have been a really high emotional situation. And
Yeah.
Yeah, the way the episodes kind of played out, I realized that that was probably in episode 4 or 5, and that was the first week. And then towards the end, the last 3 episodes all happened within about 3 or 4 days.
wow.
So it's kind of crazy to see how that editing happened there.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you guys have no control over what is aired when, but did you guys know that it was going to be that double finale with the Meet the Families and then the big final choice all in one?
No, we had no idea. Well, I guess I'd gotten a phone call from an exec 2 weeks before it happened. And they were telling us there that, it was a 2-hour episode at the end there. And I didn't even know. I mean, we don't watch the show until you guys also view it at the same time. So we have no idea what it's going to be. They called and told me about 2 weeks before that my family would be on the finale night, which I don't know if I really agreed with that, but I think it worked out fine.
What was your family's reaction when they found out you were doing a reality dating show? Was that something that they were totally thrown off by?
Yeah, I think definitely me and my personality. I'm a very private person, and that's kind of what you see on social media and why I haven't been blasting Matt everywhere. That's just who I am as a person. And so whenever I told them I was going to go on reality TV to try to find love, I think they were a little blown away by that. And, even I wasn't going to do it until I think the day before I finally said yes, and I had my bags packed. But it took a lot of convincing, as it was definitely out of my comfort zone there.
Yeah.
Something I wanted to ask you was, it sounds like you and Matt have made this great connection, and so you have come out of the show with this relationship that, is forming and growing. But even if you hadn't come out of it with love, I'm sure that it was still very transformative. Is there anything in particular that you're like, wow, this changed my perspective, or this, I'm going to take this with me no matter what? Like, what's like a lesson or something, an experience you had?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned through doing this was just being authentic to who you are. I think it's such a big thing, especially with social media. Everything was kind of aired out there, which I didn't love at the beginning, but now I just kind of feel like that's who I am. Take it or leave it. You like it or you don't like it. And I don't know, it kind of just helped build my self-confidence and knowing that, not everyone's going to like me, and that's okay. You just have to be true to yourself, and there will be people that do appreciate that. So it definitely took me out of my shell. It was a learning lesson. It was something I never imagined doing for myself. And then on top of that, also just the friendships that I've made with all of the girls, because, we are with them the majority of the time. We saw Matt a very limited amount of time. And I think you guys also said, that John got to spend a lot of time with his girls off camera, where our side was a little more strict. We didn't hardly see Matt at all. And so you're with the girls all the time. And so just forming those friendships that'll last a lifetime have been very near and dear to me, but also just getting out of my shell and being more authentic.
I love that. I mean, we talked about it multiple times, how it's like, we would like to just go hang out on Matt's farm with the ladies and drink wine and look at the beach. I'm like, you guys genuinely, by far, in terms of just the groups of women, you guys were my favorite. I was like, I would hang out with all of them and just drink wine at the beach, and I would be thrilled.
You would love it. I know whose favorite part was when Matt was going to bring home the girl or not.
Was that me? I think that was me.
Was
and you guys were just kind of
sitting
a little bit trash talking him, and I'm like, this is girlhood right here.
Yes.
Well, that's one of the best things about this show, I think, and I'm sure we've said it on the podcast, but just seeing that there are a lot of women who they go on the show and maybe they don't find love, but they find friendships that they take with them. And I think that's so neat that it's, you might not find romance, but you find girl Girlhood, girl love. Yeah.
So I guess, are you still in touch with a lot of the ladies from either Matt's farm or just from the show in general?
Oh, yeah. I'm friends with quite a bit of them. Me and Jordan are, of course, very close. Some of the other girls on the farm as well. But then, gotten close with Claire. And then Lily lives here in Dallas, so I see her often. Yeah, we've gone on some trips. We all met up in Nashville for the premiere, which was really fun. But yeah, I've become close with quite a bit of them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I want to go back a little bit to, you mentioned kind of the social media aspect and hearing what people have to say about you. So it seems like, I know, at least for our content, you were kind of keeping up with it as the show went on. So I'm guessing there was probably some other things that you were listening to or reading. And what was it like to basically have to watch yourself back on TV and then listen to everyone else's like reactions of things you did or said or whatever?
Well, the funny thing is I usually did not watch the show the night that it aired.
Yeah.
I would wait until I kind of, I don't know, had a quiet moment and then would watch it. I would kind of watch some clips to see what was going to happen. But luckily for me, my storyline throughout the show was pretty good.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have many haters or many negative comments about me. But it's also crazy to see how editing works and to see how, some of the girls were portrayed, because it's like I saw them in a completely different light, but maybe because of how they exited the show or how they left or how, just different ways how the editing kind of manipulated that.
Yeah, for sure. Was it Candace who coined the term producer shenanigans? Because I feel like
it was. Yeah.
That was something we used a lot this season.
I know, on the finale day, the producers were telling both Jordan and I, okay, you need a speech for if things go good, and then you need a speech for if things go bad. But they were kind of twisting it to make it think that it was going to go the opposite way. So that might have been a reason why you saw Jordan's reaction.
Yeah.
But also Jordan's so passionate. I love her for that. She wears her heart on her sleeve, and she will tell you just how she thinks it is. So I love her.
It was one of my favorite reactions to watch, to be honest, even though I feel like, I critiqued her a little bit, but I was like, at the end of the day, I was laughing. I was like, that made me laugh. Her sassiness. I loved it. So,
and I love the point one of you made was that well, yeah, if you weren't being filmed, that's probably how you would react anyway. So it's like, you're just going to say what you need to say. And,
move on with your life. Yeah. Are her and Matt on a slightly better terms now than finale day?
Yeah, her and Matt, I think there were some apologies sent on Matt's behalf.
Yeah.
And then we were at the ACMs all together. We went to dinner together. And so, I think it's kind of water under the bridge for them now. And they have a friendship formed. And I'm very grateful for that.
That is nice. So I did want to ask too, just because, our day job here is covering agriculture and rural life. So if I remember correctly from Speed Dates, you did grow up with a bit of an ag background, right?
Yes. Yeah. Both sides of my family are multi-generational ranchers. My grandfather, who's 88, still ranches every single day.
Oh, I love that.
So it's something that I am passionate about, and it's very near and dear to my heart. Although I live in the city now, it's something that I'll always go back to and that I love. And that's also something that was kind of frustrating to me, just seeing kind of some viewer responses about, oh, these girls are all from the city. And, quite a few of us actually did come from an ag background. You just don't really see that because of editing and because of the amount of time we have on a show. And so I will say this season probably had more city girls than usual, but quite a few of us did come from that background.
Yeah. What was because obviously ranching and then exotic fruits is very different, but did you kind of still feel a little bit at home? Because a farm's a farm in some ways.
Yeah. For sure. I definitely feel most at peace when I'm outdoors. And so, although we didn't have any technology with us, or phone or anything like that, we were able to, go on walks in the morning, or go through the avocado trees. And so that's where I found most peace, I would say, throughout the show. When everything was hectic, it was just nice to be outside and be in the fresh air and not see, another human or a car or the city lights. So that brought me a lot of peace during filming, I would say.
I wanted to ask about the fruits. So we saw finger limes. I believe there were passion fruit vines, and of course the avocados. Were there any other fruits that you guys got to work on or taste that we didn't see?
I think right by Matt's house, there's also oranges, apples, the passion fruit, there's blackberries. So they have a ton of fruit there. You didn't get to see a lot of the farming activities on the show, which I know that was
my personal pet peeve,
kind of
for sure.
Yeah. And I agree with that, because that's where you get to see a lot of personalities and a lot of that like small talk and seeing how personalities mix and the little jokes, things like that. And so I definitely agree with that. I think they could have shown more farm work. But again, that was just limited showtime this season.
Well, I mean, overall, I enjoyed this season a lot. I feel like overall, I thought the pacing, I think, was pretty good, because I feel like in past seasons it felt a little slow, and I felt like this year was a little more upbeat in terms of pacing, which I enjoyed. So is there anything you want to like set the record straight or clear the air or anything like that? This is your platform now.
Any hot takes?
Yeah, or any hot takes.
I'm trying to think. I should have thought of a hot take for you guys. Not that I can think of. I'll probably get off here and have a million things to say, but no, I've just really enjoyed getting to listen to your podcast. I know after the Texas date, Matt was actually with me. We were on a little road trip, and he hadn't been listening to the podcast, so I was forcing him to listen.
I think we were nice to him on that one, for sure, I hope.
Yes, yeah. I was a little worried, because that was kind of when the switch flipped.
Yep.
And so I was a little worried. I was like, I don't know what they're about to say. And then you guys were like, I think Matt's actually growing on me.
Yeah, I feel like it really was those kind of episodes where, it was camping was when I feel like we all were like, oh, wait, hold on. I really like this guy.
Yeah. And I will say Matt's personality isn't portrayed the best on screen, but that was also, he was a little bit more shy and reserved just around the cameras. Him and I both were like on each date that him and I had, they'd have to stop about 10 times and tell us to, redo that or redo this, just because it was so uncomfortable with 10 cameras in front of you. And so I will say he does have a great personality. He is humorous.
He made us laugh.
He is better off camera.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we had at least one farmer listen to one episode. I'll take it. Because I know a few, like, you and a few of the other, I know Jordan's listened to some, Keely's listened to some. So I knew we had some of the ladies tuning in, but I'm like, I don't think any of the guys are listening to us, but that's okay.
Yeah, he was laughing his butt off about what you guys were saying about John. He was like, that's so true.
They are like besties.
He said it was true, though. Oh, good.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Incredible.
He was like, that is his personality.
All right. I feel better about myself now. I was like, if John ever listened, he would probably just like never want to talk to us.
Yeah, we feel like we were a little hard
he
on.
He would love it.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
I feel better then.
He likes tough love. You saw the girls he was choosing.
And mean flirting. Yeah. So I guess we're good.
Yeah, he would like that.
Well, Chelsi, thank you so much for coming on the after party and talking to us and giving us spilling all the tea, as the kids say.
Of course.
Yeah, it's been great to talk with you, and we really loved seeing your comments on every time you would react to something we posted. We just loved knowing that you were out there listening. So, yeah.
I know. I think the first, because, at the beginning I wasn't showed a lot. And I think the first thing I've ever even saw written or posted about me was from Justin. He was like, I really like Chelsi on the speed date. And I was like, follow, subscribe, like.
Yeah. Yeah. We were all fans,
but you
for
guys,
sure.
Yeah, I will say with most of the things you said this season, where they were pretty spot on. So
All
props
right.
to you guys.
We're very glad to know that. That's
feeling
awesome.
very good about that. So. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It was so great getting to meet you and talk to you.
Yes, it was great meeting you guys. I can't wait to listen. And if there's a next season, I'll be listening then too.
Yay.
Oh, incredible.
Awesome.
We will definitely be back if there's a next season. So sounds good.
Well, say hello to Matt for
Yes,
us.
please do.
I will. I'll
right.
call him back and let him know.
Awesome. Okay, I think Chelsi is just as sweet and lovely as I would have expected her to be. I loved talking to her. That was so fun.
Yeah, agreed. She was exactly how I would have expected.
Also, it was so intriguing. The thing that stood out to me most, that was like a wow moment, was the fact that the Halleh drama, if you want to call it that, was like during the first week that they were there on the farm. That is crazy. I feel like that shifts my perspective a lot about the situation. That's nuts.
Yeah, especially because I didn't think maybe that the other girls really were that upset about it. That was my take on it. And so hearing from her that, no, actually, all of us were kind of like wondering what was going on. We were all kind of upset and like emotions were high and how early it was. So yeah, that was a interesting background.
Yeah. My other, I think, favorite thing, maybe not favorite, because Chelsi was great as a whole, but to know that Matt listened to one episode.
Yes.
So, hey, Matt, if you're listening to this, great to have you, even if it's just one or two.
Yeah, we love that you listened and that you were happy with
and we were nice
our
to
analysis.
You.
Yeah.
Now I have to go back, I think, and listen to the episode.
Yeah, I want to too. Okay, like what exactly did we say?
What did we say about Farmer Matt?
I think we did talk about how cute it was just watching him like pull the emotion, like pull it out of his voice box, you know, just to be like, I like you and I have a crush on you. And it was really cute. So,
man, I cannot wait to go tell Candace and Travis about everything they missed because that was a fun one.
Yeah, I'm lucky I got to sit in on this one.
So, hope you guys enjoyed this little surprise extra party time. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there maybe at some point will be a few more surprises coming. We can't promise anything, but we're trying. Thank you so much for listening to The Farmer Wants a Wife After Party. As always, if you want to say anything to us or you want to share your thoughts or just tell us how cool you think Chelsi is or anything like that, feel free to email us at afterparty@lancasterfarming.com. If you really enjoy our podcast, you are welcome to subscribe to us. That'd be great. And maybe give us a nice review. We would also love that. If you want to follow us on social media like Chelsi does, we are at Lancaster Farming on most platforms. We enjoy covering the show. We enjoy doing this podcast. And we are so glad that so many of you enjoy listening to us. So thank you again for partying with us and listening to The Farmer Wants a Wife After Party. I am Stephanie.
And I'm Lindsay.
And we will talk to you later.
Bye.
This episode of The Farmer Wants a Wife After Party is copyright 2025 by Lancaster Farming Newspaper, part of the Steinman Communications family. It was written by Stephanie Spiker and produced by Eric Herlock and Justin Berger. The music is by Tin Bird Shadow.